and it has been a to get anyone to do the invocation for us. So we're going to do things a little bit different today, and then you let me know how you like it or don't. But we are going to, I'll have to turn around to read it. Glenn read this week before last, I think it was, or last week, I don't remember. Last week. And I think it just speaks true to what Rotary is all about and why we do what we do. So I put it on a slide and figure we can either read it together or I'll read it to you. So let me know after how you feel, what you think. So as we gather here today as members of Rotary, we seek to be ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world. Amen. Sorry. If Joy could read, I did good till the last bit. Now, if you will stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, one nation under God, and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. And now Catherine is going to get to introduce the plethora of guests that we have today. Good afternoon. We're so glad to have with us our honored school board trustee, Jerry Chambers, and her partner working with her from the foundation, Heather Thoughts. And I am excited that my fellow Plano Leadership Class 37 member, Namasita, is here with us. And of course, our honorable assistant district governor, Keith Andrew.
Assistant governor.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, and you just walked in.
Yeah. I'm Stephen Orphis with TC Roofing Restorations and Solar. I'm in McKinney, New York. McKinney, Texas. Just moved from New York, so heard about the group online, and Julie Wakefield told me to stop in. So wanted to come visit. I do Rotary in New York, so I wanted to make a transfer here in Texas.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's so nice to see all the new faces in addition to our regulars. And I'm not going to call anybody out, but we do have a couple of faces that we haven't seen in a while too, online and in person. So happy to see y'all. Okay, so Senor Steve, we're going to do our brags.
Welcome everybody to the rainy but not icy edition of Rotary. Joy mentioned, did y'all stay home or get out? Well, when y'all are at home and don't have heat, yes, we're out. I would like to brag that none of our vehicles crashed anything. Which in a one-ton van is not easy to avoid. They don't stop real quick. Yes, sir.
Have a brag.
Okay. Can I finish?
Yes.
Sure.
Just raising my hand.
It's all good. So anyway, welcome today. We need the rain around Dallas-Fort Worth area. Most of the lakes are still pretty far below their normal level. And so this is the time of year to fill them back up.
So last week during our ice storm, I went down to work at the Plano Overnight Warming Center 5 times during the past week, managing to go out in the ice, despite the ice, every single day. And I want to thank everybody else who came down and volunteered at the Overnight Warming Center. to help out and make sure that our unhoused community actually had a warm place to stay and did not have to suffer outside during the ice storm.
Where we go?
Give me a shout out.
Yeah, thank you, Courtney. Somebody we haven't seen in a while, who we were always thinking about is Mr. Clarence Gilmore.
Clarence.
Do you have any words of wisdom for us today?
Well, when you get ice again, if we do get any ice, I still have some old golf shoes with the spikes. And they work just fine, except I couldn't find them this time. So I waited several days before I checked the mail.
I hear you. How about over here? Anybody feeling like bragging today? Yes, sir.
Happy New Year to those who I'm seeing for the first time this year. Hasn't been for lack of trying, ice storm and a trip to Chicago in between. But yeah, greetings from South Africa. It's been a beautiful 100 degrees constant for a month. Lots of wine, lots of sunshine, a little bit of wind, and it was wonderful. And yes, I did brave the ice storm last week. It was my 21st anniversary, so we've been to dinner on Thursday night. So yeah.
Woo-hoo. Anybody over here want to brag? You do? Okay. Okay. All right. How about over here? Anybody in a bragging mood today? No? I'll keep moving. How about over here? Anybody want to brag? Okay.
First of all, greetings from the district and always send our love. We have a roundtable this Saturday, which should be a good one. Always a lot of fun and a lot of hot topics. So if you have a chance to get there, Glenn or the website 5810 can figure out exactly where it is. For personal brag, I am back singing again. I'm in a group called Arts District Chorale. And we have a concert on March 10th. I don't know if I'm going to be up here before then. I do have cards if people want to go. It's British music from the British Isles. So no particular reason except it's good music. So if you have nothing to do and you want to come out to Midway Road in Dallas on Friday, March 10th, hear me sing, hear some good music, please join me. So.
Thank you. Glenn.
I don't know if it's a brag, but last week when I couldn't get out, I was climbing the walls. You can ask Michelle. I mean, it was serious. I was pacing. It was cabin fever. And I'm like, I moved to Texas for a reason. I mean, it's time. And I just don't like that. I don't like that. So anyway, I'm glad to be able to get out now.
Highly recommend you buy a tank that has treads on it, then you'll be good. Just for those days. All right, let's see who wants to brag online. Anybody online want to brag? Oh, come on. You guys are sticks in the mud today. All right. I'm going to turn it back over to Miss Joy.
Thank you, sir. I'll do a little brag. My daughter is actually, most of you know, she is Army Reserves. She is up in New Jersey this week doing an active duty stint. But she was offered a really cool job this past weekend. And so I'm just super excited for her. They sought her out because of her excellent performance at the job she's at. So she's going to be starting that job. And I'm real proud of her. And I'll also brag on Ero because she's not going to brag on herself. But Ero, thank you so much for being our president nominee and stepping up to that role. She's registered for pets, as is Tamara Thomas. So I'm sure they're going to come back with all kinds of words of wisdom and plans and ideas on what we can do over the next 2 years. In the meantime, she's going to try to absorb what little bit of knowledge I have in my head, and we're just going to continue to learn together. So thank you, Ero. We're happy to have you lead us lead us down our path. And so now we have our classification talk. Our very own Catherine Goodwin is going to come share with us a bit about who she is and what she does and what makes her tick. Well, hello. I'm not going to make you laugh too hard so that you don't spit out your scrambled eggs, okay? My husband Thomas and I moved to Plano 33 years ago as newlyweds and got our first house. We came because we both were employees of EDS at the time. So I am an old school EDSer. Both of our children were born in Plano and went to Plano schools. Sometime around when we had our son, I decided that it was getting to be a little difficult between them, paying attention to them and doing work. And my husband was traveling at the time too. So I left to found my own commercial real estate business, management business alongside my father and some partners in multifamily. And I did that for 24-ish years. And I'm grateful for that. As some of us small business owners know, that there's some good things about being your own boss and that you have flexibility to help in the community. And as I did, I was on the PTA board of all of my kids' PTAs for 16 years. So I am grateful for that. And I continue to PTA. I know y'all know that my heart is with Barron Elementary on the east side of town. Those kids need our help. Those parents over there all don't get to have the time to come up to school like I know they would like to support their kids. So we are getting along as best we can. So I can answer lots of questions for you about commercial real estate or even about residential real estate if you have any basic questions, but that's probably not very exciting for you today. What I'm really wanting to present to you is after I left my commercial real estate company, I went off to SMU and studied dispute resolution and conflict management, really because I wanted to go away from a business in an industry where the metric was money. I wanted my metric as I got older and my kids were leaving the nest to be about what I was doing for my community and for people, that everything that I did counted for somebody and was doing better for somebody. And the field of dispute resolution helps in our community in that way. And so I am going to bring you just a tidbit of something. There's whole classes that you could hear about this, but just a hint for you to think about if you find yourself in a situation where there's a conflict, or is this working?
Yes.
If there's a conflict or you're having a particularly difficult discussion that you need to have with somebody, and we all know that happens in our lives at work and with our loved ones and our neighbors and friends. Glenn was nice enough to bring the one slide that I have to show you, and hopefully it's not yucky enough to disturb your lunch, right? It's your brain. And there's lots of things we can talk about our brains, but what I'm going to talk about today is this part of your brain as opposed to the frontal lobe of your brain. So this part of your brain is what many folks call your reptilian brain. And it's close to your spinal cord for a reason, and that is this part is responsible for all the things you do just to survive, just to continue walking around in the world. So this is the part of the brain that controls when you touch something hot, your body sends those impulses to you to take your hand away, or all of a sudden it gets dark and it helps your limbic system pump some adrenaline in you
so you get ready to face an adversary or run away. So these are all the things that we naturally do to survive in the world, which we all know today is a very complicated world with lots and lots and lots and lots of data. So understand as human beings that we do use perhaps biases and feelings of family and tribalism to help us process all that data that we have to make sure that we're safe. The frontal lobe of your brain is the part which is responsible for logic and reason and creativity. And so my hint to you, this is just based on biology, folks, is if you are in a situation where you are about to have a conflict, or you need to, again, talk about something difficult, the best thing to do is to find something that's going to stimulate your frontal lobe. And that is sit down and write a list, because that makes that part of your brain turn on and makes you process your feelings and your impulses more along a rational line, where you could think about pros and cons and how maybe that other person might feel about the conflict, correct? Or even something like, maybe it's better if you're going to have a discussion with somebody to go for a walk, because that physical walk is stimulating that part of your brain too, making you more capable of coming to a good win-win conclusion for both parties. So I know I've exceeded my 5 minutes, and if y'all have any other questions about things like this, I'll be happy to answer them for you in the future.
No, it was very interesting. I appreciate it. I like the thought of going for a walk as you're. There are seats up here. Oh, okay. Glenn's jumping on that. We have a full house today, guys. This is just amazing. It makes me so happy. So getting on to business, I will piggyback on Keith's reminder about roundtable being this Saturday. And don't shoot me for telling everybody this, but Jen is actually going to be our she's going to represent the Plano West Rotary Club and present on service projects. Howard reached out to me and wanted Plano West to speak about finding and executing, planning and executing service projects. So I think that's a tribute to the club that we are good at what we do and everybody knows it. So they went straight to the source. And Jen saved my hide. I had said, oh yes, sure, I'll be happy to do that for you, Howard. Woke up in the middle of the night that night going, oh snap. I had to pick my daughter up at the airport at that exact same time. So I reached out, Jen said she would do it. So thank you, Jen. That's my other brag, is to thank Jen for saving me on that. I know she's going to do an excellent job. So yes, thank you. So the other items on our slide behind me, we have the furniture delivery for the families in need on the 18th. Our board meeting, as always, is on the 20th. That's the Monday night at 6 p.m. via the same link you used to get on here. So we welcome all of you to attend. It's nothing elaborate or exciting, but I think it's beneficial to be a part of that and hear what's going on and kind of help your leadership team navigate this club where we all feel it should be. So please jump on and join us if you can. Catherine extraordinaire over here, volunteer extraordinaire over here, has the drive-through, the mail drive-through at Armstrong on the 21st. And I meant to go online this morning and look and see how we were doing as far as filling spots, but I have seen several come through to help with the drive-through. So I'm excited about that. Then Zane brought to us the academic decathlon judging. Again, I didn't go online this morning and look, but I'm sure he still needs volunteers for that. And then Rotary Means Business on the 28th at 5. So if you guys are interested in networking with other Rotarians within our district, I encourage you to come out. All the details on all of these projects are on your newsletter and on our website. But if you have any questions on any of them, just reach out to me or to any of our program leaders, our project leaders. So that is all of our business. So if Joanna can come up, she is going to introduce our presenter for today.
We are privileged today to have 3 members from the Communities Foundations of Texas. But specifically, Elizabeth Leiser is going to speak to us today. She is the Senior Donor Engagement Specialist for the Communities Foundation of Texas. Prior to joining the Communities Foundation, she was the Director of Philanthropy and then the Director of Corporate Engagement for the North Texas Food Bank. So me and Catherine know a lot about that because we sling a lot of food out of those boxes. And then she spent 3 years before that in community and corporate partnerships for the Dallas Morning News. Please welcome Elizabeth Leiser.
Thank you. So how many of you are familiar with Communities Foundation of Texas? Great. How many of you are familiar with North Texas Giving Day? Okay, great. So a few more. So we, along with our community, help power North Texas Giving Day. And I will just, I just click the forward?
Yeah, let me get this going.
So that's my pre-COVID picture right up there. Isn't that pretty? Very nice. And I'm also here with 2 of my colleagues, Jerry Chambers and Heather Lotus, who are passing around some cards. We're basically going to play cards today, and you're going to get to take these with you. So these are yours, but we're going to get to those in a second. But first,
Down arrow.
perfect. Down arrow is great. So there's Jerry. So Jerry, you're going to be hearing from Jerry in April. So we are so grateful that we've been asked to come back. And Jerry and Heather are going to share about our Collin County investments and partnerships and efforts specifically. But today we're just going to share really a super quick overview of CFT and some of the ways that we work with donors. We're here basically to work side by side with people that are donating their time, their expertise, their money. And our hope and job is to connect what's personal to you about your community, then the community impact you want to make with nonprofits, thank you, and opportunities in our communities. So we have been around since 1953. And as it says here, our mission is truly to improve the lives of all people in our community by investing in their health, their wealth, their living, and their learning. Today, we're going to focus on learning, and you're just going to learn hopefully a little bit more about yourself, hopefully that you didn't know when you came in here today. And we do that in a lot of different ways. So as I mentioned, Giving Day. So CFT started Giving Day about 10 years ago, and this last year, our communities in North Texas came together and raised over $66 million for nonprofits right here in North Texas. So people in this room, I'm sure, gave. We had gifts. Giving Day, because Texas does not know how to do anything small, and Collin County doesn't know how to do anything small. So we actually, through everybody spreading the awareness of this day, we got gifts from all 50 states and over 35 countries this year. But again, the gifts are all staying with nonprofits who deliver the majority of their services right here in our own backyard to our neighbors. So we're really proud of Giving Day, but really Giving Day is all of us, right? So we always like to share this because part of our mission is we recognize that there are groups that we all walk through the world with a different lens. And we don't all walk through the world the same way. And we are very much committed to having a community where everyone feels welcome, safe, and accepted. Everyone's treated with respect and dignity. And that everyone has equitable access to opportunities to improve their lives and the lives of their families. Sorry, we have virtual people. Hi, virtual people. And so we do that in our own backyard with our staff and our operations. We have that lens for the grant making we're doing in the community, but that is definitely baked into what we're trying to do in all of our work. So there are a lot of different ways CFT makes an impact. Like I said, Jerry's going to be back in April with Heather to talk specifically about a lot of exciting Collin County focused efforts that we have. But today we're going to play cards, like I said. So the boring part is over. You've heard about CFT. Now we're going to play cards for the rest of the time. So one of the things we've developed to help connect people to their passions and then connect those passions to the community is Give Wisely. So it's something that we started about 8 or 9 years ago, and it was because we have fund holders. So we have people who have charitable bank accounts with us. So CFT, we make our own grants into the community, but we also have families, we have individuals, we have businesses, we have nonprofits that have funds with us. And they're kind of like charitable bank accounts. So we help them in a lot of ways with that money, and then we help them disperse it out into the community according to their wishes and what they're up to. And our fund holders, we started hearing a couple of things from them. That one, relative to their giving, and again, not just of money, but of time. Time is money. They wanted to feel a little more grounded and thoughtful in their giving. The world's coming fast. And we may have a faith community that we know we give to. We may have an alma mater that we give to. But a lot of times there's issues and there's problems and there's people hurting in our communities, and it can be overwhelming. And we were hearing from some people that they just felt reactive. It was too much. It was coming too fast. And they wanted to feel a little more grounded in where they chose to give. They also wanted to be able to share what was important to them in their community with the people they loved. In part, with children and family members, people wanted to share what they were up to in terms of their giving to, because that's a very rich personal thing to share with the people you love, and also to hopefully encourage their children, their family members to go on their own journey of what they wanted their voice to be in the community. They wanted to stop feeling so guilty when they had to say no. Most of us have to say no a little bit more often than we get to say yes. And part of what CFT tries to help people do is we don't tell people how to give. We simply try to create a space like we're going to have today where you can figure out what's important to you, so that when you have to say no, it's a little easier because you're clearer about what your larger yes is. And everybody has a slightly different yes, right? And at the end of the day, they wanted a simple way to do all of that. No one needs a 100-point checklist in their life every time they're going to write a check for $10 or every time they're going to volunteer somewhere. So we developed Give Wisely to help focus on that. And there's a couple of core areas that we focus on. Today, we're going to talk about the values that drive your giving and the things that you're personally passionate about, not just about the community or about giving, but just things that you're passionate about. We also talk about, we won't today, but in our larger Give Wisely sessions, our longer Give Wisely sessions, we talk about what's your personality as someone who gives. And that means things like, would you prefer, let's say you're committed to education in Collin County or in Plano West. There are some people who are very excited and they get lit up about the idea of working directly with one or more of their local schools. They want a very tactile relationship with that school. They want to give them resources. They want to support the teachers. That is what lights them up about improving education in our community. Other people may get more lit up about a more systemic approach to strengthening education for our kids. Some people are both. It's just asking yourself the question, how do I like to show up? You know, another is risk tolerance. We actually talk about risk tolerance because you're investing your resources, right? So there are some people that say, you know what, if I got $10 on an hour of my time and I give it, I want to be really clear what the outcome of that is going to be, what the product is. If I give my $10, I want to make sure those supplies got in the hands of that teacher here in my community. And that's really important to them. Some people have a little bit higher risk tolerance, so they're willing to say, I like you, I like what you're up to, I have faith in you and I'm willing to give you my hour of time and my $10. And maybe your approach is more innovative or untested, but I'm willing to go along with you on that, right? So we just talk about personality. And so all of these questions are simple, but the answers are all going to be a little bit different for each of us, right? So those are just some of the things we talk about and Give Wisely as a whole. And now, guess what? I'm done talking. You made it. Have another bite of pancakes and then open this small deck of cards. Does everybody have a deck? Perfect. What we're going to do is we're going to take just a couple of minutes, maybe 3 minutes, go through the deck, pick the 5 cards that you like the most. There is a blank card in there. If you see a value, because it's a small deck of cards, this is not a finite set of values in the world. There's a blank card in there. If you have a value that you don't see here, write it down. Pick your top 5, and we're gonna get back around here in like 3 minutes. Yeah.
Online link for that too, right?
And there is an online link. Someone was gonna drop that.
It's in the chat, so
Yeah.
anybody online can look in the chat.
Perfect. The link that says values, click on that and you'll be able to pick 5 and then email it to yourself so you can see your list.
So I got 5, like in the first 5 cards. That's probably not good, right?
So what I suggest is go through them, pull out the ones you love, then take that list and keep distilling it down.
Yeah, okay.
If you still have like 8 or 9 or 10, take a look at the cards and see if any of your cards roll up under the others. So you may have equity and justice, those 2 cards, but you may think, you know what, where equity is present, justice is present. It's all our own personal definitions, but see if you can roll any of those concepts up under one larger concept. Easy. And then I think I have.
Oh, yeah, I'm down to like 20 now, maybe.
We have 2 minutes. Let me get some straight. Have you ever done this? Have you done this? You got one. Don't forget there's a blank card in there if you need it. You got it. You know me better than you should.
I'm down.
That surprises me.
I'm down to 20.
Good job. Good job, Glenn. He's down to 20. You keep going. We're going to take about a minute more. I know that's pretty cutthroat, but you get to take these with you. And do this as many times as you want after lunch. Just holding those up. Okay, who needs like 30 more seconds? Everybody good? How you doing, Glenn? I'm worried.
I got 5.
Good job. All right. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pair up. If we end up needing a group of 3, that's fine, but let's try to just pair up with one of your table. And we're gonna take like 3 or 4 minutes just to share why did you pick those cards? And I'll call out at halftime so that both of you have time to share, but just share why you picked those cards.
And what should the people online do?
And the people online should reflect.
Well,
If there's someone in your home, yell, get them in the room and share with them why you picked those cards.
Yeah,
You could pop something in the chat.
yeah.
I'm watching for anybody that raises their hands online.
Okay, okay, okay. No overlap. The null set. Good.
Okay, let's finish up that thought and then switch to the other person.
Sorry, we're done. He's kind of monitoring chat, so I argued with myself for a while, and then I shared my feelings with myself, and then myself shared them with me, and I got my fun.
Okay, we're gonna take about 30 more seconds, finish that thought.
Oh, yeah. Community, I should have community. I think I missed it. I missed it.
All right, we're gonna finish that thought up. I hate interrupting people when they're talking about their values. All righty. Let's finish up. Okay. So, as I mentioned, there's 100 ways that CFT works with donors. Give Wisely is just one of them. And within Give Wisely, there's 100 ways we do it. We talk to people for 25 minutes and we talk to people, literally, we have curriculums that are like 15 hours spread over multiple weeks. So today, that's why I want you to take these cards with you and share these conversations with people you love. But we always start, no matter what we're doing, Give Wisely, whether it's multiple days or the time we have today at lunch, we start with values. Because either refining or reminding yourself of your values, or maybe taking a little extra time to redefine what your values are right now, considering that relative to how you give of yourself, is one of the key ways to focus first on why you give. How can you can plug how in all day long later. And I think so often for me, the world gets busy and I focus on a lot of hows. Well, how can I give? Well, I can do this and I can volunteer here and I can do that. And I gotta postcard with a puppy crying on it, so I'm gonna send them $5. I focus on the how, because it's easier to get done sometimes than stopping for just a minute and thinking about why. And some of us keep our values tried and true, very steady through our whole life. You could do this exercise in a week and you could do it in 10 years and you would probably pick the exact same cards. That's great. For other people, as life changes, as we have milestone events, and those are different for each of us, it could be the birth of a child or a grandchild, it could be the loss of someone, it could be the retirement phase, it could be anything, but sometimes how we feel about how we want to show up in our communities evolves, it changes. So we like people to keep these, and then Heather and Jerry and I have probably done them 947 times. And it has been fantastic because my words, some of them have shifted over time, and it's opened me up to, well, whoa, why did I pick that one? And then think about, it has led me to new areas in the community where I want to like find out more and maybe get involved. So we've had people who like to keep these in their wallet. We have one woman, she said, that's where my money comes and goes. And she said, so I like to put these in there as a reminder. We had a woman who put them in with her estate paperwork. She put her favorite ones in her estate paperwork for her family. And she said, to the extent that any of you are getting anything from me when I die, if you ever wonder if I would have pride, you know, in how you're using what I'm giving you, this is what was important to me. You find what's important to you, but know it, right? So how could, so we're going to do another exercise in a minute, but how could these, with all the different ways you can spend your time and your resources, these are values. Sometimes values can get stuck up here and we intellectualize them like, well, of course I'm for justice, or of course I'm for community. But then when you look at how does it really show up in your life, you may be able to list 10 things and you may say, well, it's been a while, right? But how could some of these words, with all the opportunities that are out there, how could a word on a card help you figure out a specific place where you might want to show up? And so an example of that might be, so I just picked a couple out, but like creativity. So you think, well, that sounds, is that selfish? I like to be creative, but what does that have to do with my community? Well, there are tons of programs. There are programs for men and women that are incarcerated that focus specifically on creative programs and therapies that start when they're about a year out from being released and continue through once they're back in their communities. And it is shown to be very powerful in keeping people, integrating them back into a community where they've really been utterly removed from. That's an application of creativity in your community. There's lots of after school programs. We know about these examples a little more often that help foster creativity. They help kids figure out who they want to be and confidence. They can do all sorts of things just around creativity. So if you love creativity personally, there's so many ways to translate that into the world around you. And that's one of the things you can do on your own, but CFT helps our people do. Another one is innovation. So I mentioned a while back, risk tolerance. If you love, like if you're like me and you like Shark Tank, I was watching it. I had one tape last night. I was watching it. If you like Shark Tank, because you just love the idea of creating solutions to problems or something that you might not have ever thought of. But if you like innovation, that lights you up, then you may, if you're looking at 12 projects that are focused on affordable housing in Plano, there might be one that maybe is a little more untested and a little more innovative that you might want to find out a little more about. And that may be right up your alley to support them. So those are ways that just taking a word off here, you can get it out of here and really put it to use because they're your words, they're your values. Why shouldn't they show up every way they can, right? Does that make sense? Yeah. Does anybody have one word from one of their cards that they want to share and how it might show up? Yeah.
So my word is community, and that's one of the ones that I shared with Jerry Chambers. And that's part of the reason that I'm a member of Rotary is that I have a family that's here in our community. I have kids that are growing up here in our community, and I want to make this the best place for my kids to grow up in and make this the best place possible that I can live in.
I love that. Thank you. So this is one of the ways he shows up for community. He shows up here. I love that. Thank you. So that's not the last time we're gonna get to share. But for now, we're gonna move on to my favorite exercise in the whole world. So take your big deck of cards and we're gonna do the same thing. Pick the 5 you love the most. And the ones that you love the most. You don't have to think about, if I was a good person who did right by my community every day, I would pick these 5 cards. Nope, 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 nope. Which cards do you love? You don't even have to know exactly why you loved them, but whichever cards just rip open your heart and you say, this is mine. Pick 5 of them, and we're going to take like 5 minutes to do that.
And there's a different link online.
And there's a different link online that has the word passions in it. Click on that and you'll do the same process you did for the values. Thank you. Yeah.
Speak the puppies, Joy.
Hey, don't let them shame you for your puppy's card, okay? Puppy's card's a great card.
You should have more than one. What am I doing?
She needs to change it.
No, she changed it. Do you need to change the slide?
Oh,
Can you just follow me around for the rest of the day? Bear with me, mine.
Oh, man, I did the first 5 again.
we'll actually share with you, everybody, the links. So that if you want to send these to, friends, family, they'll be able to do these exercises too. Thank you.
No. Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're going to take about a minute or 2 more. You've still got time. Just want to let you know. A lot of y'all are fast. You've done this before. Did you pick the same cards? That's okay. No. Okay, who needs another minute?
Me.
Okay, you got it. You got it, Glenn. You're my guy. You can have a minute. Thank you.
Okay.
Does anybody else need another minute? We all good? Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. We are gonna pair share again, but here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to share one of your cards and then just super briefly also share, if you can, if you can't, don't worry, what's one thing in the community you might want to get involved with or find out more about related to that card. So what's an example of that? So let's see. So of course, you might have this. Sorry, I'll give it back. And that for you may mean, education. And you may say, our school system or our school board or our local school, just something, build a bridge to connect what you loved about this card to something in the community. Does that make sense? So you're going to share one of your cards with your partner, then they're going to go and you're going to go back and forth for about 5 minutes. Does that make sense? No? Did I hear no? I will not let a no stand. We're good? Okay, all right. So pair share and have fun.
I don't have any pears. You have any what? I don't have any pears. That's strawberries and grapes, but no pears.
The fruit was good today. Did you like the breakfast?
Well, I usually have migas when I come here, so okay. Just give me the tortillas and I will make my own. So
Okay, so like this one, I love traveling, and I love the outdoors. I don't know how that could help with the community. So but
it's the whole thing. See, this is.
yeah, I saw that one. That's
I
the
think
one
that was my exact same feelings on that one there. It's like, I want to go on the adventure and,
yeah.
but it's like, we did something similar when I did Leadership Plano, on the first day, you go on the road, you go on the retreat.
Okey doke. Let's finish up that thought. All right. Okay. So we only have a few minutes left. So we're gonna have a quick guessing game. Whoever guesses closest gets another pancake off the buffet. I don't have anything with me, but we're gonna play a quick guessing game. So North Texas Giving Day, if you of you are familiar with it, North Texas Giving Day covers a 20-county area in North Texas. I want 3 guesses from the room as to how many nonprofits you think are operating currently in those 20 counties in North Texas. If you've heard it before, ladies at the back.
5,000.
5,000, that's our first guess. Great. What's the second guess? What was that?
For the 20 counties.
10,000, that's our second guess. Great, thank you. Last guess, 18,000. Okay, there's over 62,000.
Wow.
Yeah, verified by GuideStar. Over 62,000. So that used to give me a lot of heartburn, because the world I work in, that literally made me anxious because I thought, how on earth You know, there's so many good people doing good work for good reasons, right? How do you choose? So I hope this simple time together and these super simple questions have maybe given you an idea of how just spending a little bit of quiet time, because the world's a busy place. And particularly if it's someone you want to, something you want to do with someone you care about or someone you love, if we can just spend a few minutes saying what's important to us individually. If you also give as a couple or with a partner, what's important to you. These simple things can really help distill things down, right? If you feel like, well, it's education, but heck, that's like 5 miles wide and 5 miles deep, right? But maybe you picked one of your values cards was about relationships, and you think, you know, relationships are so key. And you know what? I love programs that incorporate mentors. And you know what? I want to try to impact education, but I'm interested in figuring out what sort of programs here in my community might use mentorship. That's how the conversations can get started. And that is why Heather and Jerry and I have the literally best job in the whole business, is we get to be in this space with donors all day long. And again, our job is never to tell you anything. It's to hopefully just give you a space where you can surface some of these answers for yourself. And this was just, you guys spent less than half an hour. I hope you learned something about someone here that maybe you knew very well, maybe not so well, but I hope you learned something new about them. And I hope you maybe learn something new about yourself, so that the next time you have an opportunity for your time, your talent, your money, hopefully you'll never think of that question quite the same way. And hopefully it'll give you a little bit more energy figuring out how to get the most impact for your community, but in a way that's uniquely personal to you, right? So these are other things we talk about, Give Wisely. We can talk about another time. And as I mentioned, Jerry will be back to talk more about CFT in April. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Talk a little bit about the match that y'all did. That doubles.
Yeah, so he's asking about North Texas Giving Day and the match. So we've done Giving Day for a decade, and how we do that has evolved over the years, because the first year there was like 4 million raised, and then last year there was 66 million. So as you can imagine, the math on that gets really exponentially more difficult. So here's what we do. Our CFT team raises any given year well over $1 million to be used to what we call bonus the gifts made on Giving Day. So what happens is once Giving Day is done at 12:01 at midnight, when it's done, we know how many gifts have been made. And then we look at the gifts. Is it between like $110,000? Is it up to $10,000, the bonus this last year on Giving Day? We've had to look at gifts of a certain size. And then we say, okay, for every gift between $0 and $10,000, we have this many gifts, we have this much bonus money. Here's how much everybody gets. Does that make sense? We had to do that because the first couple of years, someone makes a $500,000 gift, and then boom, your bonus money is gone by 12:04 a.m., right? Okay, and I know we're at time. If you have any other questions, Jerry and Heather and I will be at the back. Thank you for letting us come, and we will see you again in April.
Don't go anywhere just yet. So thank y'all for staying a few minutes after. Don't go anywhere just yet. So in appreciation for your time and your program today, the Plano West Rotary makes a donation of $10 in your name to the Polio Plus Fund. So thank you for that. We appreciate your time. What a wonderful presentation. So next week is Stephanie P. Oh, yes, it is. And Stephanie Peacock with Plano West Neighborhood. So with that, if you will stand and join me for the 4-way test.
I just want to say one thing real fast. You listen to this presentation today. I've agreed to be the co-chair of the Benevolence Committee. We don't have a co-chair to go with me yet. Okay, great. That's fantastic. If you especially are a new member of this club, I want to know how the funds that we raise get distributed. here's an awesome opportunity to get a much better understanding as to what we're all about. So get a hold of me, please, because we're gonna have to meet really soon.
That's a perfect segue. Okay, the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First is a fiction. Second. Verify. Third will be Four will be beneficial to all concerned. And five is. Rotary. Thank you. Great day.